Hi and welcome back to Learn Music Theory for ABRSM Grades 1 and 2. This is our third lesson, and now we're going to take a look at rests and rhythm composition. We've just seen rests in the previous music video, but we're going to take a bit more of a look now and also re-explain them and take a look at the other types of rests we've got. Then, rhythm composition is going to be a vital part in your exam for the end of Grade 1. The exam expects you to be able to create a 2-bar rhythm by yourself. So the learning objectives for this lesson are quite simple. We're going to see what rests are, and then we're going to look at composing our own rhythms. Let's get started. In 4/4, we can fit 4 crotchets, and we've seen this plenty of times before. But the thing is, it's not that we can fit 4 crotchets, it's that we need to have 4 crotchets in a 4/4. There is no way around it. So, what if we don't want to play 4 notes? What if we just want to play 3 notes? Well, then we can skip one of the notes, but instead of the actual crotchet or minim, we have to put a rest. So a rest is the part of a bar where we don't play a note. We don't play anything. So here we have our 4 crotchets in 4/4. And if we skip a note, we end up with a crotchet, the crotchet rest, and then 2 more crotchets. And therefore in the second part of this 4/4, the second crotchet, this is called the beat. In the second beat of this 4/4, we don't play anything. So just like crotchets, minims, and semibreves are all written differently, and they have different symbols, pretty much. The crotchet has the black note with a stem, the minim is the white note or empty note with a stem, and the semibreve is the white or empty note with no stem. The rests are also written differently depending on which note they correspond to, and depending on their length. So whereas these are the crotchet rests, sorry, I think you might not have seen that properly. These are the crotchet rests. We can have one or we can have many rests. We can have all rests in a bar if we want. The minim rest is a bit difficult. It's a bit different. It's really easy. It's not difficult at all. It's just a small rectangle on top of the middle line. The middle line is the 3rd line. So this is the minim, and that's the minim rest on top of the middle line. Similarly, you can have it at the start or at the end of the bar, it doesn't matter. The semibreve rest is a small rectangle below the 4th line, and remember we count from the bottom. So this is the semibreve rest. And of course, in 4/4 we can only fit 4 crotchets. This is equal to 2 minims, which are equal to 1 semibreve. So therefore we can only have 1 rest or 1 semibreve in a bar. So below the 4th line, counting from the bottom, and here is another example with the semibreves, 1 in each bar and the rest in the middle. Okay, so this is the rests, and that's the 3 different rests we're going to be seeing in the Grade 1 section. And now let's move on to writing our own rhythms. And now that we know the notes and the rests, we can finally start writing our own music. And in Grade 1, we're only going to write 2 bars in 4/4, which is a fairly simple thing to do. It's just 2 bars. The maximum number of notes you can write in 2 bars is 8 crotchets. That's the maximum thing you can write, and you can use different notes if you want. And then we're going to write, well, you are going to write another rhythm in 3/4. So let's write a 4/4 rhythm now, and then you can try to do a 3/4 rhythm yourself with a piece of software or pen and paper. So this is our 2 4/4 bars. Notice how we have the clef in the beginning, 4/4 right after the clef, and then our 2 bars and the 2 lines at the end that signal the end of our music. The first thing I'm going to write is a crotchet, and I'm going to write it at the note D. Notice how the rests now change to accommodate this note. We no longer have a semibreve rest because the semibreve rest would take up the 4 crotchets, and now we have 1 crotchet and 3 remaining crotchets that are turned into rests. Then I'm going to add a minim, and see how now we only have one crotchet left to fill, because the minim is worth 2 crochets, the crotchet is worth 1, the total is 3. And a 4/4 can accommodate 4 crochets, so we only have 1 crochet rest left. And I'm going to write an E in that to now have D, G, and then E. And then I'm going to write another crochet here at C. Notice that is on the extra line, also called a ledger line. Another crochet at E. Another crochet at D. And finally, one at C. So this is my rhythm. You can pick any notes you want as long as they fit in the measure. Of course, in 4/4, we can only write 4 crochets, or 2 crochets and 1 minim, or 2 minims, or 1 semibreve. That's everything we can write. In this instance, I've picked these notes completely arbitrarily, and you can do that as well. So if you can go to the piece of software or your pen and paper and try to write a 2-bar rhythm in 3/4, that would be fantastic, and I'm sure it would help you remember everything that we've done. Okay, so we have seen rests, we have seen how to create our own rhythms, and now we can start moving on in the course, and we're going to take a look at some more advanced topics before closing off the grade 1. So stick with me, and let's go into the next one.